get everybody out there Friday and be able to field a squad. So
right. So everybody, as far as you got now, you've got all your guys are healthy and ready to go. You said you had a couple drop out, but you think you got enough to cover it?
Yeah, I mean, we've got enough to cover Friday. We're gonna be young in a lot of spots, and for last week we kind of got hit on Friday morning, which was another reason why the timing wasn't right. And we're going to be shorthanded this week, but we've got enough kids to make it work, and we're going to do our best to do that. And having some practice time with those kids, moving forward this week, knowing that what the case was going to be, and knowing that we could get a couple kids back. We're hoping to be able to get them back tomorrow, so we'll kind of see how that goes. And you just kind of got to roll with the punches here with everything that's going on. And it's bad because you never know when your kids are going to get that call. And like I said, we lost some more today, mostly younger kids, so it didn't affect our varsity group. So we're just hoping that we can keep what we have and maybe get a few of those guys back, and hopefully the COVID bug doesn't bite us again.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's week to week, day to day. Like we were just talking to Coach Thompson, and Jackson County just went red on COVID, but it looks like their high school is good enough that they're going to be able to play. But it's still, it's up to that last second before anybody gets to make a decision. So I think you guys announced Friday before the game that you weren't going to be able to play last week. Was that correct?
Yeah, it was Friday morning. And, one of the things that's really saved us to be able to try to get this done this week is having the 7-day quarantine option for kids to return.
Right.
If they do have a negative test. That's if it was just a blanket 2 weeks, we wouldn't be able to play this week.
Right.
But having that other option, and some of the kids have been around someone earlier in the week that hadn't been in school for a few days. So that's really what's helping us be able to get back. And it is what it is, and you just try to roll with the punches and know that you got to adjust on the fly and just try to develop depth everywhere, because you never know when someone's got to step up for a role that that they weren't expected to do right then. Maybe they're a JV kid that's getting some time in JV, and they may have to step in Friday night and contribute, and that's kind of where we're at. We're going to have some kids, some young kids in some spots this week, but we've had time to prepare, and I think they'll do a fine job.
Yeah, you got to have a big calculator to do some of this COVID math, don't you? You got to.
I mean, it's just the biggest thing is it's frustrating because you get ready and then something changes, and I think that's the biggest key is just the unknown, and especially when our roster is 75% freshmen and sophomores.
Right. But, like you said, you've got a couple of kids that are going to have to step up and fill those roles, and maybe this is where they break out and they shine and they start getting attention.
Yeah, and I think they're capable. We have some young talented kids. It's just experience. They didn't get a scrimmage this year. They didn't get a week 1 JV game. They got a quarter of a week 2 JV game, and then they finally got to play a JV game outside. So that's been one of those. We're trying to develop some depth with those younger kids that we feel are pretty talented, but they haven't got a lot of game reps yet. And we've tried to get them in on Friday nights, but it's best, I feel like, to get them up to speed and get that game experience first at the JV level before throwing them in on Friday night, where everyone's bigger, faster, stronger, and the game just happens so much faster.
Yeah. Who'd your JV boys play last night?
We played Springs Valley.
Yeah. How'd that go?
Yeah. We did not win. Came out slow, and the kids bounced back, and wasn't enough in the end. But I think it was one of those. We had been off, and this was a kind of a makeup COVID game because Brownstown got quarantined, and
right.
It was a good eye-opening experience for our kids because in the first quarter they were kind of shell-shocked, and I think once they got settled in, they did some really good things. We didn't take care of the ball, which we got to take care of the ball better, but just getting them out and playing was a plus because, like I said, they hadn't had a game. They played against a little over a quarter against Clarksville JV, and that got called because of weather. And we didn't get the scrimmage, like I said. And then week 1, West Washington, they canceled on us. So for us, it was good to just get them some game reps and get them on the field and kind of see some things that they could do. And there's some kids that kind of stuck out that I thought did some really good things. I think that's going to help us moving forward. And there's a couple of them that are going to have to help us Friday night.
Right. Right. And we had talked about that before, that without them getting those reps, even if it's this JV game, once they get those reps in, then you can tell what they're doing and what they're learning, and they get that real world experience of putting hands on a guy and figuring out, what needs to happen to move up to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that game speed and doing it against somebody else. You do it in practice and that kind of thing against the guy across me that but you got to be able to do it against somebody you don't know. And, that game experience is just key, and I think it's crucial for those young guys. And that was another reason, we really wanted them to have a JV game, because there are so many young kids, and we don't want to just throw them in on Friday night and force them to play varsity minutes when they're not ready. And that game last night gave us a chance to kind of see, okay, who's more ready for this than some others, and that's going to help us, like I said, Friday, and they're going to have to step up, because we're going to have to play about 6 or 8 of them Friday night to make things work.
Yeah. So what's your game plan for Friday night?
Well, I think the key, Silver Creek, they just got a lot of speed. You look at them on film, they got speed everywhere on defense. Their defensive line they just get off the ball. They're fast. They are relentless. I always look at defensive lines as far as activity level. How active are they? And they're a very active group. They fly the ball. I think the key for us is we got a little bit of size on them. We're going to have to try to use our size to our advantage. We got to be able to get our hands on those guys and move them. We can't let them shoot gaps and get by us. And they try to confuse you by they run a little 3-5 defense, and they stack their outside backers, or their stack outside backers over their ends, and try to play games there, confuse your tackle and your guard of who's coming B gap, who's coming C gap, and just understanding how our scheme fits with what they're trying to do, and dealing with that speed on defense is going to be key. Taking care of the football, we got to take care of the ball. From a defensive perspective, they are fast. They got a lot of speed. They use that speed, and you can see in the games that they played. And we're going to have to be able to contain that. Against West Washington, week 1, I thought we did a good job of that. Week 2 against North Davies, we did not. So that's something we worked on last week in practice, preparing for Brownstown, and something we've continued to work on this week is just containing the edge and making sure we tackle better. That the speed is the biggest concern, I think, for me, is they just got speed everywhere, and they just got a lot of athletes that can make plays.
Right. So you're going to have to find that spot where that speed's not going to matter the most, and exploit that as best you can. The things that I expect to see you guys, that ground and pound that you guys pulled week 1, it was really working, and I hope that you guys can get that working again this Friday night.
Yeah, and they play a similar scheme to what North Davies did, and North Davies was similar up front. They had a big nose guard, but they had some quick guys at the other positions that gave us a little trouble. This is a similar scheme that Silver Creek does, and so we've had a little experience against it in the game, and had time to talk about it and go over things, and so hopefully that works. They're talented up front. Like I said, we're bigger. We got to get our hands on them and drive our feet and try to utilize our size to our advantage. I think that we did some really good things in the North Davies game, throwing the ball. We threw for about 250 yards, and we brought a freshman quarterback in, Cody Bannett, who had a good 2 quarters, threw for 160 yards in 2 quarters. And Nathan Toyce was 8 of 8 that night for about 95 yards or so. So we did some really good things throwing the ball there. We got to grow on that. That was an emphasis after week 1 when we didn't have a good outing throwing the ball. And now we got to put that together with the run game. Our run game struggled against North Davies when we threw the ball. It was the opposite against West Washington. We got to be able to get our run game going, our passing going at the same time, and I think our offense will really take off. We've had good outputs as far as yardage is concerned. It's just putting the points on the board. Against North Davies, we got in the red zone, I think, 3 times and didn't score. We got down inside the 30 another time and didn't score. If you punch those in, it's a different game, and it's just those are little things like that's going to add up, and we got to have a full team performance Friday night against Silver Creek on both sides of the ball and special teams.
Right, and you guys do have some pretty good size up there on that line. With Talon Smith up there and Matthew Johnson, and I can't remember that other fella that was up there, but you guys do have good size on that line. So hopefully you get to take advantage of that and open some holes up.
Yeah, and we've got Waylon Perez is a kid that's got some good size for us. We got a freshman, Aiden Miller, who's 6'7", 300 pounds. He's a big kid who He's athletic, move his feet. He's a freshman. We're going to have to rely a little bit this week. Mike Abney's a senior for us, big kid up front, big, strong kid.
Yep.
6'2", 245. So we've got some size. It's just a matter of us, being able to handle that speed and getting a hold of those guys. We got to get to them before they can get past us and shoot gaps. And they're feisty. We got to lock on and drive our feet and move them and don't stop till the whistle blows, because they're going to come hard. And I think if we can get the run game going, I think there'll be some things there in the throw game. And the key is going to be take care of the ball and contain the edge on defense and not give up the big play.
Yeah, you mentioned Mike Abney, and what a great kid. Whenever I was helping coach up here at Salem for the wrestling team, that kid is very respectful, and he's just a great kid.
Yeah, he is. He's a great kid, and he's one that moved here in middle school and had never played football or never wrestled, and we talked him into playing football and wrestling, and he's grown a lot. It's not just as an athlete, but as a person, and he's done a lot of great things, and both football and wrestling. And he's a kid that has been the anchor of our offensive line, and he's going to be important for us Friday night. He's playing center, and they got a quick nose, and he's going to be challenged there. And I think that wrestling background really helps in those situations, especially when you got a quick, feisty kid on the nose, and you got to be able to throw your hands and lock on pretty quick.
Right, and that's something I've kind of preached for a few years too myself, is that that wrestling and football go hand in hand, and whenever it comes to winter sports, that's where it's at. Whenever you're a football player, so. Coach, I think that's all we've got for you tonight. I appreciate you calling in, and good luck Friday night.
Thanks, appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
All right, we'll see you.
All right, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back with
In fact, they become an extension of your family. For more information about Salem Crossing, caring people make the difference. You can feel it the minute you walk into Salem Crossing. Experts in long-term care, not just doing a job, but following a calling. They're here to help you and your family find answers and solutions and peace of mind. In fact, they become an extension of your family. For more information about Salem Crossing, visit ASCSSeniorCare.com or call 812-883-1877. That's 812-883-1877.
Whenever the forecast is nice, you're probably thinking about enjoying the great outdoors. Whether that means doing some four-wheeling or hitting the road in an RV, First Harrison Bank can help make your dreams a reality with a loan designed to meet your needs. Talk with one of our associates about our options for RV, boat, and camper financing. If you're looking for a great auto loan, we can help with that too. To get started, just visit us at firstharrison.com. Keep it easy, keep it local. Subject to credit approval, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hey, Robert, are you going to a game on Friday?
Yep, I've already got my ticket, Carrie, which we both know as Indiana High School Athletic Association Assistant Commissioners is much more than a ticket.
It's so much more. When you go to a high school sporting event, you're making a contribution to your community.
That's right. The proceeds from ticket sales go right back to your school's athletic department to help pay for things like facility maintenance and officiating crews.
And just by being there, you're encouraging the student athletes in your community to achieve their goals.
They need that encouragement. They need high school sports in their lives.
They really do, because they teach important life lessons like how to be part of a team.
And it's the team that provides a sense of community.
Which is why it's so important for the whole community to come together to support their high school student athletes.
So join us and buy a ticket to the game.
You'll be supporting your entire community.
And we're back, and I'm live with the man, the myth, the legend, Coach Jeff Medlock. How you doing tonight, Coach?
You're doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. Sitting up here and in the air conditioning and relaxing and talking some football. So there's been a lot going on with our youth league this season, and I kind of wanted to touch base with you a little bit and talk to you about all the good things that we're doing at the younger level, and kind of spread out some of the love for Coach's Corner to some of the other coaches, in the league and in the system, working from the ground up. A couple of things that I wanted to talk to you about. You and I have coached together, several times in the past, and this year has been a pretty challenging year with this whole COVID thing. How do you think we're doing teaching these fundamentals to these kids in the short period of time that we're getting to do so?
Well,
well, I can't speak for the other coaches, but for us, I just feel like that, there were, in the beginning, the kids, I don't know if it was from COVID in the past or what, but I don't know. It just seems like the kids weren't ready in the beginning of the season. But then once we got through that first week, it seemed like all the kids fell into place and were on the same page as those coaches, and we started to see kids pick up stuff and start to see improvement. And then about the time we're looking to see even more improvement, we get this shutdown for the past 2 weeks, which kind of hindered us a little bit. You wonder how a team's going to respond coming back from a couple week layoff, and it's no different for the high school or the middle school. But I feel like our kids have rallied, and I'm happy. Anytime you see a kid have success, that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line, because we're trying to build confidence in these kids, and we're trying to not only build them up as football players, but build them up as good young men to go out and become productive members in the future of our society.
Right, and that's one thing that we always preach. You and I, we're not looking for punks on our team. We're looking for smart kids. We're looking for good kids. One of our opening remarks to them is that you're going to mind your parents, you're going to mind in school, and you're going to get good grades. And if not, well, then you're going to ride the bench most of the time. And, that's something that we instill in them, just like whenever we tell them, once we've coached you in the youth league, you're our kids for the rest of your life. If you ever need anything, call on coach and we'll take care of you. And I think that really, that helps some of these kids. And we had talked a little bit last night about some of the kids that, they're struggling with this or that. Some of them have behavioral issues, and those parents, we allow those parents to lean on us as coaches to kind of help out with that.
Most definitely, because like I always preach, we are a football family, and I mean that in every sense of the word. That we count on each other. The players count on each other. Us coaches count on each other. The players count on us coaches, and we count on the players. And it's a process, and some kids take a little longer to start developing, or maybe if they're new to the sport. Of course, it's a contact sport, and it's going to take some time for them to feel that out, to learn what it's like to get hit, to learn what it's like to hit somebody else, and our kids are really picking up on that. I mean, we had the first game due to COVID and injuries. We played the first game with 12 kids out of 17. One of those kids being having a broken foot. Which, by the way, that kid does get his cast off this week. He's not going to be able to play this year, but hopefully
we could see him on the sidelines, maybe.
Exactly. It's on the sidelines and being able to come to practice, and because even though he's had the broken foot, I still want that kid to be involved. I still want him to be a part of something bigger than himself. And
it was a shame because it's always a shame to see those little guys go down, because during that practice, Weston, the kid that you're talking about, he was really showing some enthusiasm. He had some things that he needed to clean up and take care of, but he was one of those kids that wanted to be on that football field. He wasn't there for mom and dad. He wanted to be there for the love of the game, and to see him go down and not get to play his season really broke my heart.
Yeah, you hate that for any kid, and those. The good thing is those things like that. In most cases, in my years, they're few and far between. But yeah, it is disappointing. That happened at our first practice after the draft, and and I know he's disappointed too. But the other side of that coin, talking about developing those players, a part of that philosophy has to be, you've got to gain the trust of the kids.
Right.
You've got you've got to gain their trust because, we don't just focus on the good athletes.
Right.
The way
we like to coach from the bottom up.
Yeah, you're only as good as your weakest player, and those players that are weaker or less aggressive or whatever, those are the players that you get really pumped to see them show improvement. And a part, like I say, a big part of that is, here you're coming in. I coach with a discipline style, and that takes a little bit for some kids to adjust to because
Right.
maybe that they're not used to that at home.
Not used to that aggressiveness.
Right, and so once the kids, the more we hang around with the kids, and the more we develop a relationship, the more they seem to trust you, and when a kid trusts you, he will bust his tail to do whatever needs to be done, to hear those compliments.
Right.
And that's why, especially with a kid that's maybe a little more behind the eight ball than others, that's why I get so excited when they do show that improvement. It might be a single play or it might be a series of plays, but I want that kid to know how happy that I am, not only for them, but for their teammates. And and I tell our more experienced kids, that hey, these, we coach fifth and sixth grade. We tell sixth graders, that the fifth graders are looking up to them as examples. And of course, when we come back next year and those fifth graders or sixth graders, we're going to be doing the same thing to them. And because it's not just us coaches that make a difference in these players' lives, it's the players making a difference in each other's lives.
Right, they got somebody to look up to.
Building up the people around them and into one big family.
Right.
It may not always be a happy family, but
Right, because nobody likes getting their butt chewed by Coach Medlock, but sometimes they need it.
yeah, and and I try to take a fair and impartial approach, and most, in most cases that works.
Yeah.
And because, like I say, those kids can tell whether they can tell whether you're showing favoritism or not.
Right.
And they can tell whether you really care if they improve or not.
Right. And a lot of times that's a struggle to watch because you'll have a coach that'll take their studs and focus and beat on them, but then they're missing something over here on this other, they may favor their backs and then they're lacking on their line. So I don't care how much you improve your back or how fast your back is, if he has nobody up here blocking for him, it's going to do you no good. So you got to take an all-encompassing approach to it, and one of those kids that we were, that we talked about, or that kind of like what we were mentioning. One of our success stories, I think, is Trenton Sears. That boy was a knucklehead when he first started playing. He knew he was a knucklehead, and he got to where we had to snatch a hold of him and get that attention. And he is one of our leaders on our team right now. And as much as he has improved from the time he was in third grade, the kid's night and day.
Oh, most definitely, he is definitely improved, and he's a kid that he's one of those kids that you just want to take home with you. I mean, you just love really the kid. Is. He's got a good personality. He loves life. He loves football. He loves his teammates. He loves his coaches, and those kids like that, they make it fun to be around them. They make it fun. Sometimes I can be serious as can be, and then somebody does something that's off the wall or says something that's off the wall, and kind of lights the mood and makes the coach laugh.
Right.
Those moments are pretty fun too.
Right. And matter of fact, I got a hold of him in Walmart one time. He was giving his mom some trouble, and I happened to be in there, and I chewed his butt a little bit. Mom called me a little later, and she said he was the greatest kid after that. So, they do have a respect for us, and it follows them through the years. I see you on the sidelines at our home games and things, and the boys see me. Our seniors this year were on the first team that I ever coached. So for them to still walk up and say, how you doing, Coach Nate? Or I used to, before COVID hit, I was on the sideline. I gave every one of those boys a hug before and after the game. So they really, being able to see that we still care really does a lot for them. And I really think that it has helped grow these kids into the players that they are today.
Yeah, and in time, I would like to see more of our kids that do play football to maybe after they've graduated and they went to college and start a career, or even if they don't choose to go to college and they just stay local. I would love to see them get involved in the coaching game, and
right.
there's plenty of opportunities for that. There's several coaches in the league that are seasoned coaches. They've got several years under their belt, and situations like that would be perfect for a kid or a young man to come into and to start coaching. I've done it for 31 years, and I'm happy with that. If I had it to do all over again, I would have probably went to college and I would probably be coaching football right now at some school. But the love of it for me, is just being around the kids and like I say, it's not just about the X's and O's. It's about developing lifelong friendships. And sometimes, I'm old enough and coached long enough now that I've coached some kids, and they've grown up, gotten married, and had their own kids, and been able to coach the second generation.
Right.
And that's very cool. That's very, very cool.
Yeah. And Coach Thompson mentioned tonight that some of our kids that are varsity players now have never lost to Brownstown. And if you think about that, he's right, because they hadn't beat us in JV the last couple of years. They didn't beat us at all in middle school. And then I told him, I was like, well, let's take that back a little bit longer. Coach Medlock and I coached your seniors, some of your seniors this year in their sixth grade season. And we went undefeated without giving up a point that season. So some of those kids have only had a handful of losses, since sixth grade. So that just goes to show a little bit of what we're doing, from the ground up and how much it's working for our kids.
Yes. And our, all the classes in the high school, they all of them have good talent.
Absolutely.
And what's going to separate good talent from the rest of the crop is guys getting in the weight room, guys doing things on their own,
right?
Being self-motivated to work and not necessarily been in an environment where somebody else is pushing you.
Right.
You've got to be self-motivated to accomplish what you want to accomplish. I mean, if somebody's got to get in your ear every time just to get you motivated, that's not always a good thing, because that person may not always be around, the one that helps motivate you. You've got to be able to find out what works best for you, and not be afraid to work. I know our young generation gets a bad rap at times for being lazy and not wanting to work, and we just have to find those kids that are willing to get out there.
Yeah, those aren't going to be those kids that are going to be on the field under those Friday night lights. And I tell you, one of those self-motivating kids, that always comes to mind is Porter Howie, and look at the success he's had. Whenever his dad and I coached him in fourth grade, he was the heaviest kid on the team, but he was the fastest kid on the team. And that transition into fifth grade, the weight limit changed for who can carry the ball, and Porter worked his butt off all summer on his own, and over the winter, and and kept his weight down so that he could run that ball whenever he got into the 5th grade season. And he ran it well. He ran it all over me that next year. So watching his progress and where he's been, at that fullback position and that self-motivating drive that he has really goes to show you that, you're correct on that. If they're not self-motivators and they're, always having to have somebody in their butt, they may not be our stars whenever it comes to the Friday Night Lights.
Right.
So we've got who do we play this weekend? I'm not even real sure.
We in the youth league we play at Charlestown.
We play at Charlestown. Okay.
Yeah, our team plays at Charlestown this weekend.
That ought to be interesting. Be a little bit of fun. It's always good to get over there and do something different and getting out there with those little guys and letting them play on that turf. It's
right. Our kids, when we done the jamboree and we played at Charlestown, that for most of our kids, that's the first time they ever played on a turf field.
Right.
Okay.
Well, and some of our kids, it was the first time they played on any field.
Yeah, and a turf field definitely different than grass.
Yep.
Maybe a little hotter, in the summertime, but in the long run, you save on cost of mowing.
Right. Lawn care, sprinklers.
Yeah.
And you can do multiple sports on it. You don't have to worry about somebody going out there 2 days before the big game and tearing the field up and, getting it muddy. Like there was a couple of times we had to cancel youth league games back in the day because, the field was just too wet and we didn't want to tear it up for the next week's game. We had might have had a JV game there Monday, or we had a home game the next Friday, and we just couldn't afford to go out there and tear it up.
Right.
So yeah, there's definitely advantage to having that turf. I know it's a huge cost to start out with, but if you look at it in terms of what's it going to save us in 10 years, I think it's definitely worth it. Well, Coach, I'm just about out of time tonight. I thank you for taking time out of your evening to give me a call and talk with me, and I will see you tomorrow with practice.
All right, thank you, Coach. You have a good night.
You too. Bye. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back for some closing words.
Things change. Insurance should too. Jason can help to see if you're covered for life's constant changes. Call Jason Petmeyer, your Washington County agent, at 812-883-2995 or visit infarmbureau.com.
Hi, I'm Justin Green, Mayor of the City of Salem. Go Salem Lions! If you're planning that bonfire during or after the football game this fall, please use caution. I want to remind you to be safe around your bonfires and avoid starting any fires during extremely dry conditions. Also, I want to remind you that only fires you can have in the City of Salem limits should be no bigger than a 3-foot square area and 3 foot high. Burning brush and leaves in the city limits is prohibited. Just like the Salem Lions, we're proud of the hard work our firefighters do at the City of Salem Fire Department. If you have any questions, please give our fire department a call at 812-883-4970. Thanks.
New Parmesan crusted papadillas. Who doesn't love a slice of pizza with tons of ooey gooey cheese? Papa John's is expanding their papadilla lineup with the introduction of the Parmesan crusted papadilla. The new papadilla features Parmesan cheese baked to a crisp on a fresh, never frozen, original 6-ingredient dough. You can order one for just $7. Hi, I'm Shelby Lehman, the new manager of your Salem Papa John's, and I'm excited to see you at the store. I'm a familiar face as I've been working here with my husband Sean over the past few years. I'm the new manager, so when you stop in, ask for me if you need anything. I'll be more than glad to make sure your experience at our store is the best. When you stop in over the summer months, be sure and sign up to win Holiday World tickets courtesy of your Salem Papa John's and WSLM radio. Check us out online or call us here at the store, 812-883-3369. Also, we are hiring for drivers and insiders. You can stop in or put an application online at papajobs.us.
This is Becky, and we're live at John Jones Auto Group for the John Jones Auto Minute, right here on WSLM.
Hello there, Jalen Hoare here at John Jones in Salem, Indiana. Don't listen to what they're telling you. Here at John Jones, we have a ton of trucks and a ton more coming in. So come see us. We've got a bunch of Silverados inbound from the factory, one of the few dealerships around with inventory. We've got a large selection of new and pre-owned vehicles, over 250 used cars here just at our Salem location. So come see us over here at John Jones and prepare yourself and your kids for back to school. You want to be pulling up to school in a brand new vehicle. Check out our inventory online for qualified vehicles at johnjonesautogroup.com or give us a call at 877-473-5546. John Jones Chevrolet Buick Cadillac is ready to serve you.
At John Jones GMC, you see so many because they pay so little.
If you're searching for a career, GKN can provide an opportunity for you. GKN Powder Metal in Salem, Indiana is your full metal shapes solutions provider. GKN is currently recruiting for CNC operators for 12-shift schedules, which is 3 days 1 week and 4 days the following week. You may apply in person Monday through Friday from 9 to 3. Starting wage is $18.45 up to $24.75 based on experience, plus 60 cents per shift premium for night shift and a full range of competitive benefits. Competitive wages and medical, dental, and vision insurance. Life insurance optional. Free short, long-term disability. Free life accident insurance, plus 401k savings plans with company match. Shaping powder metal into high performance and high precision components. GKN provides leading powder metal expertise and process experience to transform ideas into production. GKN is an equal opportunity employer.
Keep playing. Keep working. Keep going. And keep moving with the unmatched orthopedic care at Baptist Health. With a best-in-class team and procedures you won't find anywhere else in the region. It's no wonder most people choose Baptist to help them keep on. Keeping on. Visit baptisthealth.com/ortho to find a Baptist Health provider.
At Meadowview Health.
All right, we're back. All right, tonight's inspirational words come from J.J. Watt. Something I wanted to share with everybody. Success isn't owned; it's leased, and rent is due every day. And you know that doesn't that rings so true in everyday life, and especially in situations like we're in right now. You know, you've got to live your life to the fullest every day. Get every minute of every day that you can get in. Don't take a day off. Don't take a play off. Success isn't owned, it's leased, and rent is due every day. That's all I've got for you guys tonight. Make sure you set your dials to 97.9 FM and 12:20 AM next week for Coach's Corner Live. This Friday night, I'll be live on 97.9 WSLM from Brownstown, calling the game with my partner Ryan Larimore. And I believe that after this, we're going to join the Reds game. So you guys have a good evening, and I will see you on the radio next week.
Home Loans in Salem, where everyone gets treated like a star. Come experience the star treatment with us. You'll never go back to the ordinary home loan experience again. Stop in today and see Dennis Baxter, branch manager of the Salem office, to start working on a new home loan or refinancing today. They've served nearly 50,000 families with over $15 billion in loans. Stop in and see Dennis and his staff. They're ready to work with you today. As a star, you expect the best, and that's all Celebrity Home Loans has to offer. Nothing off the rack. We're talking fine living, designer fashion home loans around here. Come by today and see Dennis or Autumn at 18 Public Square, Suite A, or call for an appointment. 812-883-0670. Remember, at Celebrity Home Loans, you're the star.
Wouldn't it be great to find a dealer that puts their customer satisfaction over their profits? Well, you have. Betty Gilstrap Motors in Salem, Indiana has been your hometown Ford dealership for over 80 years. No hassle, no pressure, and ranked in the top 6% nationwide for customer service. Specializing in Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, Betty Gilstrap Motors is your one-stop shop for your sales, service, and auto body repair needs. Visit us today at EddieGilstrapMotors.com or come see us at 207 South Main Street, downtown Salem, Indiana. Stevie Motzinger here with Eddie Gilstrap Motors, cheering on our black and gold. Go Lions!
Frank Loustakis, Kyle Farmer will follow against Alec Mills. Right-hander brings it plateward. First pitch fouled away by Votto. Left side, strike one. Votto standing in, hitting .269, 28 home runs, 85 RBIs. Votto was on base twice last night. He doubled in the first inning, smoked one to the left center field gap, and now he ropes one right at the second baseman, David Bodie, in shallow right field in the shift. Well, Votto can't hit it much harder than that, but hit it right into the shift. The Cubs had him played perfectly, and it's the first out of the second inning.